Hello everyone and welcome to the Sysadmin Tutorials YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be performing a vCenter Server 6.5 upgrade to the new vCenter Server 6.7 Update 1. I've had a few people ask me for this guide, so I'm going to run through the entire upgrade process as if it were a production vCenter Server upgrade. A quick overview of the main steps that I'll be guiding you through. Number 1, read the release notes. This is extremely important. Even if you have performed many upgrades in the past, you should always read the release notes. This can be the make or break to a successful or unsuccessful installation. There can be important pre-steps that you need to do before or after an upgrade, and these points are always highlighted in the release notes. Number 2, read through the vCenter 6.7 upgrade documentation. This will give you guidance into how to upgrade your particular topology. For example, a vCenter with embedded platform services controller versus a vCenter with external platform services controller. Number 3, check the VMware compatibility upgrade path. Number 4, check the VMware interoperability matrix. And number 5, back up everything. Let's start at step number 1, reading the release notes. Up on screen is the link to the vCenter Server 6.7 Update 1 release notes. I'll click on Installation and Upgrade Notes for this release. And we'll see if there's anything extra that we need to do. I've read through all of this documentation already, and these sections explain that most of the vSphere web configuration options are now implemented in the vSphere HTML5 client. As an example, if we click on vSphere networking, you can see the note down the bottom here that in vSphere 6.7 Update 1, almost all of the vSphere web client functionality is implemented in the vSphere client, which is the HTML5 client. At step 2, we have the vCenter 6.7 upgrade documentation. Make sure you read this section thoroughly, as it also highlights points that need to be taken into consideration. For example, if you are using any third-party plugins, or as I mentioned earlier, the upgrade sequence for a vCenter server with external platform services controller versus a vCenter with embedded platform services controller. Step number 3, let's check the VMware compatibility upgrade path. Anything highlighted in green is a supported upgrade path. We can see from this table that we can only upgrade to vCenter 6.7 if our current vCenter is at version 6.0. Anything older than vCenter 6.0 will need to be upgraded to a 6.0 release first, followed by a second upgrade to 6.7. An interesting point to mention here is that if you are at vCenter Server 6.5 Update 2, you cannot upgrade to vCenter 6.7. You must upgrade to vCenter 6.7 Update 1. The reason for this is that 6.7 was released before 6.5 Update 2. This means that 6.7 does not roll over the new features or patches that were introduced in 6.5 Update 2. For now, we don't need to worry about that, as we can upgrade straight to 6.7 Update 1. In step 4, we're going to check the VMware interoperability matrix. Within my environment, I'm running NSX. To prepare for this lab, I checked through this table last night and found that I had to upgrade my NSX installation from 6.4.1 to 6.4.3 so that vCenter 6.7 is supported. If you have any other products installed within vCenter, such as vCenter Operations, vCenter Orchestrator, etc., be sure to check the version compatibility here. Lastly, for step 5, we're going to back up our vCenter server. I'm going to open up the vSphere HTML5 web interface, and I will log on with my administrator username and password. The vCenter that I'll be upgrading is this one here, NSX-A-VC1. I will right click on it, select Power, and then shut down Guest OS. And I'll click Yes to confirm the shutdown. Once the VM is shut down, we'll right click on it, we'll select Snapshots, and take a snapshot. I'll type in pre-upgrade for the snapshot name, and in the description I'll just put in pre-vCenter 6.7, and we'll click OK. We'll now power on the vCenter server. And once the vCenter server is powered on, we're going to log into the vCenter admin interface. I'll log in as root. To back up our configuration, I'm going to click on the backup button in the top right corner. I'll select FTP. I'll enter in my FTP server address and path. I'll then enter in my FTP server username and password. You also have the option to encrypt your backup data, but for this lab I'm going to leave that unticked, and we'll click on Next. I'm going to leave the default options selected, although you can optionally deselect stats, events, alarms, and tasks. This screen will display a summary of your backup options. Click Finish to accept them, or click Back to change your options. And the backup is now in progress. We now have a successful backup of our vCenter server, so I'm going to click OK. The last backup we're going to do is of the vSphere distributed switch. To do this, I'll log into my vSphere web interface. Once we've logged into the vSphere web interface, I'm going to click on Networking. I'll right click on my vSphere distributed switch. I'll select Settings, and then Export Configuration. I'll select Distributed Switch and all port groups, and I'll click OK. Select Yes to do you want to save the exported file. And we'll change the file name to something meaningful. I'll be using NSXA VC1-VDS-backup. NSXA-VC1 is the host name of my vCenter server. I'll click on Save. Now it's time to start the upgrade. The upgrade is broken up into two steps, similar to a fresh deployment. Stage 1 deploys the new appliance, and Stage 2 will perform the actual upgrade sequence, which includes copying data from my source vCenter 6.5 server to the new vCenter 6.7 server. I've already downloaded the full vCenter 6.7 ISO file. However, the ISO file can be downloaded from myvmware.com. After logging in, head on over to the Download section, and then under All Products, VMware vSphere, we can click on View Download Components. And under Products, next to VMware vCenter Server 6.7 Update 1, we'll click on Go to Downloads. And we'll want to download the VMware vCenter Server Appliance. The file size is 3.95 gig, and you just click on Download Now to download the ISO file. I'm going to mount the ISO image by right-clicking on the file and selecting Mount. Once the ISO file is mounted, we're going to go into VCSA UI Installer, and then Win32. I'm going to scroll down until I come to installer.exe. I'll right click on that and select Run as Administrator. Within the vCenter Server Appliance Installer, we have a few options here that we can select. However, for today's lab, we're going to be selecting the Upgrade option. First, we'll begin with Stage 1, which is deploying the appliance. So we'll click Next. We'll accept the user license agreement. And in this window, we're going to be connecting to our source vCenter server. So that's our vCenter 6.5 server. Once you've typed in the fully qualified domain name or the IP address, we can click on Connect to Source. Now that we've connected to the source vCenter server, I'm going to enter in the SSO password for my administrator at vSphere.local account. And I'll also enter in the password for my appliance OS root account. Now I'll enter in my vCenter server name that manages this nested vCenter server. I'll enter in the administrator at vSphere.local account password here. This account has administrative access to VM vCenter, and I'll click Next. I'll accept the certificate warning. I'll now type in the vCenter server where I wish to deploy the new appliance. Remember that this is phase 1 of the upgrade, where the installer will first deploy a new VM, and then phase 2 will copy all the settings from the source. Once again, this will be VM vCenter, and I'll also type in my administrator at vSphere.local username and password. Once again, I will accept the certificate warning, so I'll click Yes. Now we'll select a folder of where we wish to place our virtual machine. I'll be placing mine in NSX Lab, and I'll click Next. Next, I'll select the computer resource where I wish to deploy the virtual machine. This is simply going to be my cluster, which is called VMLab cluster. If I expand this, you can see the amount of ESXi hosts I have within this cluster. For now, I'm going to be calling my virtual machine NSXA VC67. Once the virtual machine has been deployed, I can then rename the virtual machine within vCenter and put it back to its original name, which was NSXA VC1. I'll now just type in my root password and I'll also confirm the root password. For the deployment size, we have a few options ranging from tiny all the way up to extra large. And this is really going to depend on how many ESXi hosts you have in your environment. And you can see that by looking into this column right here. It's also going to depend on how many virtual machines that you have running in your environment. For my lab, I'm going to be leaving this on tiny. And for the storage size, we also have some options to select between default, large, and extra large. Changing the storage size also changes the storage gigabyte, as you can see in this center column right here. So if I click on large, you can see the amounts have increased. If I click on extra large, they've increased once again. And this really depends on how long you wish to keep your statistics and events and tasks. For my lab, I'm just going to select default, which is the smallest option, and we'll click on next. The data store that I'll be provisioning this virtual machine on is just called Synology-1815-NFS1. So it's the only NFS data store that I have in this environment for now. So I'll have that selected and I'll click next. Now we'll need to place this virtual machine into the same network as our source vCenter server 6.5. My source vCenter is in the home lab internal network, and my temporary IP address that I'll be entering here is going to be 192.168.1.74. The subnet mask is /24 or 255.255.255.0, and my default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Lastly, I'll enter in my DNS server address, which is 192.168.1.101, and we'll click on next. This screen displays the summary of all our settings. Like with the other wizards, we can simply click on the back button to go and make changes. If we're happy with our settings, we click on the finish button. And our vCenter server will now start deploying. Phase 1 of our vCenter server 6.7 upgrade is now complete. I'll click on continue. And now I'll begin on phase 2. I'll click next. The pre-upgrade check result displays the following warning: VM guest OS patch baselines, host upgrade baseline files, and ESX 5.5 and lower host patch baselines will not be copied across to Update Manager 6.7. I'll click on close. Here we have three options. We can copy across our configuration, events and tasks, or configuration, events, tasks, and performance metrics. For my lab, I'm just going to be selecting the configuration option, which is the first one. Before clicking on next, it's important to understand that there is going to be a little bit of downtime for your vCenter server. Your source vCenter server is going to be shut down once all the configuration is copied across. Your destination vCenter 6.7 server is going to import the configuration and switch over to the original source IP address. So be sure to allow for this downtime and notify anyone that needs to know in your organization. But right now I'm going to click on next. Optionally, you can select to opt into the Customer Experience Improvement Program. I'm going to untick this and click next. And once again, we have a summary of all of our settings that we've entered. We've originally taken 2 backups of our source vCenter server, so I'm going to click this button here, which says I've backed up the source vCenter server and all the required data from the database. And we'll click finish. A warning is displayed explaining that the source vCenter server will be shut down once the network configuration is enabled on the destination vCenter server. So we'll click OK to continue. Phase 2 is now complete. We get some information on screen here in regards to if you are using auto deploy. As this is a new server, you'll need to update the TFTP settings with the new set of tramp files. What is a tramp file? A tramp file is a simple config file that points to the new vCenter server. Also, that vSphere 6.7 disables TLS 1.0 and TLS 1.1 protocols. If you have an application that relies on these protocols, you can run the TLS configurator tool located within the appliance in this directory. If you need to do this, follow the instructions in the KB article highlighted on screen. We'll now browse to the appliance getting started page, which is located at this address here. We're going to click on Launch vSphere Client HTML5. And next I'll log in with administrator at vSphere.local. Once we've logged in, make sure you have your vCenter highlighted in the top left-hand corner and that you are in the Summary tab. If I scroll down and look under Version Information, we can see that our vCenter version is now 6.7 and the build number is 102.44857, which is update 1. If you're not sure what build number equals which release, you can browse to the following KB article, which highlights the vCenter version and build number. We can see in the second column, vCenter Appliance 6.7 Update 1, that the build number is 102.44857, which corresponds to our build number of the new vCenter 6.7. In my next video, I'll be upgrading our ESXi hosts within this environment from 6.5 to ESXi 6.7 Update 1. The first host, I will show you how to update using Update Manager, and the second host, I will update via the CLI. Okay, that completes this tutorial on how to upgrade vCenter 6.5 to vCenter 6.7 Update 1. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get to them as soon as possible. Thank you all for watching and hope you all have a great November leading into the Christmas holiday period.